Right, thank you very much for keeping it Smart 24 TV, and thank you very much for keeping it Smart Means Business. Be the first to know, and being the first to know is very important for any business person. Reason being is that when you look at the scope of the world and relatively about information regarding business, is that in most of the cases or in most of the scenarios that we've actually faced in the world is that we are having challenges as a generation. Why? Because if you lose information or if you fail to access relevant information as fast as the other people are actually receiving it, then in a very competitive world, you are definitely bound to face a very huge challenge. And nevertheless, when you look at a situation that almost everyone here is supposed to actually focus and put your eyes on getting relevant information, that is why we are here, and we are entailed to make sure that we give you all the details, and so that you can know of business information, business analysis, and get to understand what is trending from the world of business as well. At this particular moment, let's tip you onto something you can add onto your business. It is a time for us to have a look at the business tips, and let's have a look at our business tip of the day. This here is taking us through what can inspire you or motivate you as well into your business. Let's look at our business tip of the day, which comes in on every daily here on Smart 24 TV. Let's have a look at our business tip, and this particular one says, take a stand for yourself. If you are dissatisfied with your current circumstances, admit that no one can fix them except for you. It doesn't do any good to blame the economy, your boss, your spouse, or your family. Change can only occur when you make a conscious decision to make it happen. If you are dissatisfied with your current circumstances, admit that no one can fix them except for you. It doesn't do any good to blame the economy, your boss, your spouse, or your family. Change can only occur when you make a conscious decision to make things happen. I think this takes us back to people who actually have a blame game to almost everybody. We are not supposed to blame anyone for matters regarding our life or our success or our failures. Why? Because in most cases, we tend to sit in a comfort zone, and we tend to believe that anyway, if something doesn't happen, then this person led it to happen. And someone once told me that the level you only realize that you're mature enough if you handle things maturely. And how maturely can you handle things is when you start stepping up to know that you are the difference that you want to see in society. For example, in most of the cases, if you look at, we've seen the entrepreneurs have this mentality that as an entrepreneur, yours is to take a risk. And the risk starts by your self-believing in, it starts with self-belief. And self-belief is when you can stand up and say, I must be the change I want to see. I must create that change. Because blaming your failures or your success onto somebody else is literally going to be a defensive strategy for you, and at the end of the day will always keep you into the comfort zone. Why? Because you believe if you fail to achieve something, even with your low effort, you believe that someone has deliberately has actually pushed you down, or someone has deliberately led to your downfall. So these are some of the things that I do believe most people face, or most of the challenges that the people are facing in here or in that particular regard. But, well, as a matter of fact as well, looking at most strategies, looking at how people have to change is, do not look at where someone is. Do your best to change your life, because at the end of the day, the world is going to ask for results. Normally, in the world that we are in, which is actually driven by money or monetary situations, assets, investments, and all that, people no longer ask you of your documents, or people don't want to know how your background was. People have limited time to get to understand why you're suffering. People want to know Why aren't you changing the suffering? What have you done to change the narrative of suffering? What have you done to make sure that you're having the money on the table? People do not want to know where you're getting the money. People want to see you with the money. And that is the generation that we're in. So it is time for you not to blame anybody, but what you need to do is to step up your game, be your first fan, be your number one supporter, continuously push for greatness, and then you are good to go. Well, besides the business tip, let's have a look at our business quote of the day, an inspiration as well, and a motivation for anyone. Business quote of the day also comes at this particular hour of the show, the second hour of the show. Let's have a look at our business quote of the day for the business community to as well get inspired and motivated on what you need to do in your business. And if at all you are failing out, which quote can motivate you to stand up and get going again. Now, this particular one is saying, no matter how brilliant your mind strategy is, no matter how brilliant your mind or strategy, if you're playing a solo game, you always lose out to a team. You will always lose out to a team. So when you look at a situation here, is literally regarding teamwork. People are definitely looking at teamwork as the answer to a number of issues. But when you look at the continued relevance of teamwork, is that you cannot compete with a team regardless of how strong you are as an individual. Because even if you're to put it in, let's say, in a relevant example, for, let's say, a battlefield, and it's a one-man army up against, let's say, 10 people, or let's say 5 people. Realistically, you're going to need a lot of extraordinary chances and skills to defeat the 5. If they all come well-equipped and well-skilled, as you are, then it will be very difficult for you to beat them down. So that clearly shows you that even in business, teamwork is very vital. A team can consist of 1 or 2, 3 people. It doesn't necessarily mean you need 10, 15 or 20 people. You may be 1, 2, 3 or 5. But as long as you have someone who pitches in ideas, someone who objects ideas, someone who supports ideas, it is always a collective growth, which includes each one of you. It's an uptake whereby every other person brings in ideas, where everyone brings in their ideas, and their ideas are bought. Ideas are pitched in, bought, and then you see how you're going to successfully execute them. And that is where we are going as you're looking at the issues here as well. So clearly, this quote is to show you the importance of teamwork. That regardless of how successful you are as an individual, regardless of how good you are at executing certain things, and how successful you've been when you're a solo person, but if someone comes in with a reliable team and an effective team, and they come to compete with you in the same field, believe me, there are chances that they are going to succeed more than you are, because you do not want to be told, or you do not want to be given advice. I do take a situation that people who don't want to work with teams desire working alone, because they do believe working alone is far better. But then a team can give you a sense of direction, whereby in some cases, when you are a solo business person, a solo entrepreneur, you tend to make mistakes, because we are human beings, and sometimes the mistakes we make are always driven by emotions. Once you're emotionally down, you tend to make a mistake depending on your current situation. But if at all you're under a team, they can easily see that the decision you're taking or what you're going to execute is emotionally driven and may not reap good results for your business. And the best way is for them to guide you through and take you through the rightful directions of making sure that you succeed with your business. So clearly, let's embrace teamwork wherever we are, whether you're an employee, at your workplace. Make sure that you work with the best team, or make sure that you have a team that you associate yourself with, because in the long run, you never know what impact you will receive whilst you are working with any team in any way. All right. Now, with that, the business tip and the business quote there for you. We head into the SMB reports yet again. And this time round, we take a look at what is coming in from the Public Finance Management Act, where we're going to be looking at how the public has been advised to embrace all available chances in the oil and gas sector. Before we even dive into this particular report, is that today's programming will be a little bit interrupted with an oil and gas conference that is taking place in Kampala. And we'll be giving you all the details from the live feed, and as well as getting expert analysis and expert interviews from the key players from the oil and gas sector. This is a 2-day conference that will be happening starting today till tomorrow, looking at the opportunities. Remember, ever since the final investment decision was signed in February, the chances of Uganda and oil, we've already taken a very huge step. 2025 is a very huge expectations for people to actually tap into the available oil and gas sectors, all the available opportunities that arise from in there. But regardless of that, when you look at what is coming in through as well, is that a number of students at the university are actually applying for courses in oil and gas. Others are already graduating from the various courses. So those are some of the key chances people stand to actually be stakeholders in the oil and gas, because they're going to be quite available opportunities. But as you definitely know, when the world is quite competitive, the opportunities cease to be enough. And it's always one who is always on top of the game, and one with the best luck who gets most of these jobs. Oh, should I also forget, if you also have the connections that are right